Hey, what's up guys, Brad here. So today we're taking a look at some more cards from Legendary Duelist Magical Hero, the new set coming out in January for the TCG. And we're doing this because some of these cards might come to Duel Links, and I'm going to let Brad from last week explain what we mean by that without having to repeat myself in this video. So over to previous Brad. Legendary Duelist sets, they've kind of been a starting ground for Konami to introduce support from these sets into Duel Links. We've had Joey's very nice cards come to the game, Zane's Cyberdark stuff, Kaiba's Blue Eye support like Bigger Machine Go, Solid Dragon, that was in these type of sets. We had Pegasus with Millennium Eyes Restrict. So a lot of cool things have came from these sets into Duel Links. So today we're taking a look at Jaden's new support, because Jaden got some really interesting cards, including one very powerful new hero monster that I think is going to be a mainstay staple of the hero deck in general for the TCG, and if it came to Duel Links, would definitely be part of that as well. And so in this video we're going to talk about the cards, and also I'm going to say whether I think they could come in like a box or via an event or an unlock character or something like that. So maybe some of these cards need to be limited to a one-of, or could be in a selection box or something. So let's dive right in, starting off with Jaden's brand new fusion monster, Elemental Hero Sunriser. So this is a level 7 Light Warrior fusion, of course, 25-1200, so I believe that's Neos' stat line, so requires 2 heroes with different attributes, which this is what's really cool about some of these cards, is they're actually requiring, you know, the whole point of elemental heroes. But we're requiring any 2 heroes, so it can be E heroes, D heroes, Master heroes, Vision heroes, all the heroes you want, can be any of them, must be fusion summoned. All monsters you control gain attack equal to the number of different attributes on your side of the field times by 200, so again, playing into that different attribute element of the elemental heroes, and this is kind of like a mini beatdown or ties that bind for every monster on your field, not just heroes, which if you're playing heroes with ties that bind as well on top of that, means you're going to be getting a good amount of attack points onto all your monsters every single turn. So this by itself already sounding pretty good. Then when it's kind of special summoned, you can add 1 Miracle Fusion from your deck to your hand. So then immediately on summon you get access to a card that lets you use the 2 materials used to summon this in your graveyard, and because of 2 different attributes you can then go into, say, a fire hero or an earth hero, or if we get absolute zero, a water hero. So this could be a very powerful card in the hero decks, and I like to do what Blackwings do so well right now and get multiple monsters on board, multiple big monsters on board, and be able to do some damage with them. Additionally, this also has an effect that's kind of similar to Cyber Angel Izana or Magician of Chaos, in that when an attack is declared involving another hero you control, you can target one card on the field and destroy it, and it's not a once per turn effect, which means that if you had, say, a weaker hero, you could declare attack into a bigger monster, then use Sunriser to then pop that monster, and then go in for a direct attack with Sunriser. So this could be a very, very nice little control engine for elemental heroes or just any hero in general, and the only problem I see with this card is the same thing with Blackwings, in that the extra deck space is so limited in Duel Links that you can't really have all of these big monsters and have a ton of options to go into, especially if you're trying to say, do I want to play the Neos variant, or do I want to play Mars heroes, or do I want to play, you know, pure E heroes? This card has use cases, and I think it's better in a very generic, very focused elemental hero strategy, especially for Duel Links. Next up we have Liquidman, the best card I think from this selection of heroes that everyone I've seen on YouTube and the internet is kind of excited for. So level 4 Water Warrior, so replacing your Bubble Man or your Ocean, great for absolute zero. When this card is normal summoned, you could target 1 level 4 lower hero in your graveyard, accept itself, and special it. So immediately, that's 2 materials on board for your fusion summon, for your absolute zero, or for your Sunriser, or for a rank 4 Xyz, or for a Link summon or something if you're playing the TCG. So immediately, it's good in that regard. It kind of reminds me of Solid Soldier a bit. So I think, just like right now, this card could come to Duel Links. If it does, it should be in a selection box first of all, and then months down the line, we get access to this card again with maybe another hero that can then take advantage of it, and by then the meta would have kind of evolved to adapt to having like limited copies of this card in the game, but then also be able to compensate for having more copies of it in the wild. And if it's sent to the graveyard or banished for the fusion summon of a hero monster, you can draw 2 cards, then discard 1 card. So this can get other materials in your graveyard that you need, like maybe you want to put Shadow Mist in the graveyard for some reason if you're playing TCG, maybe you want to do that, but this does give heroes some more draw power, which they kind of have in that skill already. Beyond that, there's not really too much, and you can only use one of these effects per turn, so you have to choose. Do you want to do the normal summon and get the special, or do you want to get the draw when you banish it or send it to the graveyard? So immediately, like, if you drew the Miracle Fusion with Sunriser, you could then get the whole draw 2, discard 1 off, using this card to go into, say, another hero with Miracle Fusion. So you can see a bit of synergy here with these new cards, and this card especially is the one I think that will make the most impact for heroes in general, in the TCG and especially in Duel Links. And of course, remembering it's not just elemental heroes you can go into Master Heroes, Vision Heroes, Destiny Heroes. Not there's any Master Heroes at level 4 I think, but you get the point. There are a lot of options in Duel Links and in the TCG that this card can special summon, so very, very nice. Then we have Generation Next, our first spell card, a quick play spell card, obviously referencing the start of the GX anime, the intro, the opening, and this card is okay. So if your life is low on your opponents, you choose one elemental hero, Kuribo, or Neospatial monster with attack equal to or lower than the difference in life points between you and your opponent from your deck or your graveyard, and either add it to your hand or special it, but you can't activate its effect or the effects of cards with that name during that same turn. Hard once per turn on this card. This to me is good for A, getting a link material on board, a fusion material on board, and that's about it. Maybe if you want to stall with like say a Glowmoss for like your next turn, or for you want to search out for a Wing Kuribo just to play it on the field during your opponent's end phase so you have something on board, or you could search out for a Sphere Kuribo really if you really wanted to, or if we get a Kuri Photon, that might be a card that works really nicely with this card as well. So there's definitely a lot of options there. And the Kuribo ones and the Neospatians are the easier ones to go into because obviously the difference in life points, that's only going to be mandated by either taking damage or in a TCG using a hero lives, which I think is still at 1. So that's a bit of a mixed bag there, or in Duel Links by using say Cosmic Cyclone to potentially proper skills. So there are some limitations to this card, and I feel like this card out of all of them is probably the safest bet to just be splashed to Duel Links for an event in a box or something and not make too much meta impact, but it's still a cool little card, but definitely requires certain conditions to be met for it to be the most optimal, and definitely requires some pretty good extra deck monsters, I think, to really take advantage of it in the best way possible. Next up, we have Favorite Hero, a equipped spell card with Flame Wingman on the cover art. This is a really nice looking card. Equip only to a level 5 or higher hero monster, so any hero again, not just elemental heroes. While a card is in your field zone, the equipped monster gains attack equal to its defense points, and your opponent can't target it with card effects. So this can make Brave Neos like 3,400 or something. You can make him really, really big if you want to. Now, you might be wondering, but like Neos doesn't use, a field spell. You don't really run a field spell in that deck, but at the start of the battle phase, you can activate a field spell from your hand or your deck, which is really good because unlike Sunriser, who has to have a monster declare an attack to be able to pop a card, this card lets you, at the start of the battle phase, even if you don't attack, you can just get out a Skyscraper, Skyscraper 2, a Neospace if you're running the Neospatian engine. If you're running evil heroes in the TCG, then maybe you want to go for Supreme King's Castle. There's a ton of different options you can go into with this card, and I quite like it. Now, you can only use this effect of it once per turn, which is kind of fine because not really, you can have more than one start of the battle phase, but when this card destroys the opponent's monster by battle, you can send this card to the graveyard to then let that monster attack for a second time in a row, not just on monsters, on literally anything. This comboed with Brave Neos would be really, really good for cycling Neos fusions, and then if we get access to more cards that like require Neos fusion or that work with Neos fusion, like if God forbid we get Rainbow Neos, then you kind of set up next turn to have like multiple really good plays. So yeah, I really like this card. I feel like this is definitely a prime super rare candidate for coming to Duel Links at some point via a mini box or something that, gives us some more hero support after the fact we're now, year after 5Ds, we're into DSD world now. So eventually we're going to get a hero box that, helps heroes in a way, and I feel like this will be one of the cards highlighted from it. And finally we have Magistrate Alchemist. This is a trap card that has a really nice artwork again. Electrum versus Raviel Lord of Phantasms from the original GX Season 1 anime. So this is, again, another one that kind of works together with the whole theme of elemental heroes. So you banish any 4 heroes from your graveyard and or face up on the field to target a hero in your graveyard and special it, ignoring summoning conditions, so that can get out some pretty beefy fusion monsters if you think about it. And if Earth, Water, Fire, and Wind were among the monsters you banished, to activate this effect, you can then double the summoned monster's original attack points, and if you do, all the effects of cards your opponent controls face up are negated. Once per turn activation on this card. Obviously this doesn't stop things like your opponent's face down back row, which will be a bit of a problem, or if they have like a Desperado Bound Dragon sitting in their hand or whatever, or any hand traps, but this would allow you to go for some pretty cheesy OTKs, and I feel like that's really the point of this card, is to be a very anime focused, cheesy OTK card, you're about to win the duel, limited in style. For that point, I like it, but the fact it only gets the double attack when you use 4 certain attributes means that you'd have to like banish 4 different heroes, which honestly, what hero deck really uses multiple attributes? I know the cards today kind of all focused on giving you access to multiple heroes and multiple attributes. I know that Sunriser did that, and it does that quite nicely, but most hero decks really, I feel like, are sticking towards the kind of light and dark theme, or maybe like Wind with Stratos, because you know Stratos is such a Liquidman, so like there's a lot you can do with cards and Duel Links in a TCG that can work with this card, but I feel like for Duel Links this card is fine. This card will be a fun meme deck that I feel like a Playmaker Duel Links could kind of muck around with and come up with a really cool combo for, so I wouldn't mind any of these, and again, these can all come to the game. You know, these are all fair picking for coming to the game because they're in a legendary Duelist set, and Konami does usually look at those sets and think, you know what, maybe we could bring some of those cards to the game. Definitely a cool set of cards. To me personally, not as hype as the Dark Magician support we talked about last week, but Sunriser and Liquidman and Favorite Hero are among my favorite cards in this set entirely, so definitely some cool things to look out for if you're a fan of heroes, and in Duel Links, we could see this coming to Duel Links as early as January, which we do have, you know, the 3rd anniversary. We're going to get like a selection box probably, so again, some of these could be in there, or in a Jaden focused event, or in a new main box or mini box or whatever. So let me know down below what you think of these new cards. Again, if you think they should come to Duel Links or not. This is more of a discussion of my thoughts on the card or whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next Duel Links video, or Yu-Gi-Oh video in general. See you then. かけらが残る